What's going on, family? Welcome back to the channel. Today we are talking about the 42 units, the apartment building down in Alabama that we had under contract. We walked it. Unfortunately, we didn't take it down. There was a lot that came up during the property condition report or the property condition assessment, the PCA. We're gonna talk through that today and walk through that, and I'm gonna share some of my insight on why we walked away from the deal and then hang around to the end, and then I'm gonna share a little bit more information to you with some good news with that. But make sure that you hit the thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel. I'm thankful to have you here today. So for those who hadn't seen the video, we had the link below. But a few weeks ago, well, back actually mid-June, we took 42 units under contract. We had 24 in Prattville, Alabama, and then we had 18 in Montgomery, Alabama. So went in, got them under contract. We had some of the initial documents. The 24 unit was completely down. We'll start with it. But really, when we went through the 24 unit and walked it, that in my boots on the ground, my partner walked it. We knew it was a heavy lift. We initially budgeted and thought it would probably be somewhere around 600, 650,000. But after getting a contract estimate, going through, doing a little bit more due diligence, the budget was busted. It was nearly 950,000 to a little bit over $1 million projected renovation. And you already know, whether you're a new investor, you're a seasoned, savvy investor, $1 million project right now in this economic environment, no way, no way. Just with the logistics concerns, you can't get enough flooring, windows to try to rebuild and remodel 24 units, some of which all the way down to the studs. Yeah, and then it would have been a bridge loan, and you would have had a high interest rate. You're executing the project, then you got to refinance it. Who knows where rates are going to be in a year, even if you finish on time in a year or longer. And so it's just too much risk. So we said no to the 24 unit. After our contractor walked it, we didn't even get a PCA for it, property condition assessment. But the 18 unit was still viable. It has 6 units down, roughly, and we knew that going in. So it is producing some income right now, about 65% occupancy. And so we went down and walked it with our home inspector and with our contractor as well too, to kind of go through in person, start doing the due diligence. Which on paper it looked like a solid deal. The numbers looked okay. We knew that we were going to have to come in and position ourselves with enough equity to be able to position ourselves for a refinance after we come in, bring the 6 units that are down online, and then refinance the asset. And we were targeting around a 6 to 8 month time period, which isn't bad. It should take us about 3 months to do the renovation. And so that's what we were going into when we walked this 18 unit. But the thing with multifamily investing, that you have to do your due diligence. You can get burned easily. It was an older building, so one thing that you want to look out from day one, the cast iron sewage lines, which it did have. And one of the properties that was down to the studs, it was exposed, and we could actually see that and call out everything that was going with it. And ultimately, we're going through, and I'll share the pictures here with you in a second and kind of walk through the property condition report. But really, it came down to, there was over, he called out 154,000 in immediate repairs. Now, we had this asset under contract for 1.25 million, and which was a little bit, it was pushing it a little bit, but there was enough upside with the location, originally with where it was at in town, off a kind of prominent area there in Montgomery. And I still didn't 100% like the neighborhood. After I rode the neighborhood the day of the inspection, I was like, it wasn't the vibe that I really wanted from walking in Google Earth and seeing one side of the street versus the other side of the street. But immediately he said we had to put in $154,932, and I was like, wow, it was crazy, y'all. We walked through. They had like new balconies, and they didn't use outdoor nails. They used indoor nails for all the balcony on the banisters, and I'm like, how did you do that? And so it was just little stuff like that. And then he had short term year one costs another 93,000. So 154 plus 93, you can do the math. So we're almost nearly 250K out of the first year and a half. We're going through with the property just off the work that he saw. And we knew that with it, the 6 units down was gonna cost about 100,000 anyway. But outside of that 100,000, we had 150K of extra work that we didn't know for just negligence in the property. Going through all the units, and you'll see the pictures here. Matter of fact, let's go ahead and start walk you through the pictures and just kind of show you all everything that we had going on with this one. All right, let's get ready to go walk through the pictures here. So this is just the outside of the picture. So before we go through, so we had the property inspection. So the inspector was a civil engineer. He also did we stopped. So after we got there, we're kind of going through. We let him know up front. It was like, depending on how this walkthrough goes, we may not go through with the environmental study. For those that don't know, a report like this for us, when you walk in a multifamily with this size, we ended up paying like $2,500 for the PCA, property condition assessment, and then the environmental study was going to be another $2,300 for that. So it's like after we went through and walked it, we were like, hey, depending on how this goes, we'll let you know if we want to move forward with the environmental study. And so that was cool. We didn't have to do them simultaneously and incur more costs. But we went through, and so he takes pictures. He's looking at every part of the property. Before we started walking the units inside, he was there 30, 45 minutes early, looking at all the roofs, walking the area, from the entire lot, looking at how the drainage goes with the building, if there's any foundation issues that he can identify, any issues with the sidewalks, the pavement, in the parking lot. So he was going through from top to bottom, looking at and assessing the property, the ages, and giving his recommendation. So here you can see here the north exterior. We'll walk through the pictures here. You got the north exterior building. You got the west exterior. So it was, initially, they had the roofs were new. They were fairly recently made. All new windows. Most of the air conditioning units have been updated. So not a bad property. It's brick. You can tell from the exterior, the parking lot wasn't in drastically bad shape. It only had one pothole that was there. And, it had nice foliage coverage. You can see here the boarded up sliding glass door here on the backside where we had 6 units that were down. And overall, it was fairly quiet. Wasn't that bad. There's that pothole that he called out, but then also you got the handicap parking, inadequate access path to the curb, something he called out. But I was really impressed with him. I've had a lot of inspection reports, more so on the single family side. But here we go. So here we go, kind of worn, warped siding here, the siding panels where we can see nothing major. Here you got gaps in the brick. Anywhere where you have gaps or warping, you can get moisture inside. And when that moisture gets inside now, it's going to cause damage to the wood structure underneath, the floors, the sheetrock get wet, and you're going to have mold. That's going to happen, especially in Alabama, where you have a lot of high humidity. On the part of the 6 units that were down, you had missing HVAC, so HVACs need to be replaced. There you have the electric meter bank for those units. Here's another one that was crazy. They put these balconies up, but the columns weren't anchored to the foundation. So they had all these porches to the second level, and none of them were anchored to the concrete, which is a liability hazard. Somebody falls and you own this property, you're going to be in bad shape. Fairly new cabinets, black appliances, granite countertops. And that's the kitchen. And that was one thing that he called out. We were going through. It was probably at least 30 to 40% had doors that were damaged. Whereas that the contractors, when they installed the cabinets in the kitchen, they used screws that were too short. And so everybody had loose cabinets or the doors. One lady in her kitchen, she had like the cabinet that connected, and she just took the doors off. And so her cabinet where her canned goods were, was just kind of completely exposed because the screws weren't holding the doors in. It was crazy. And and there's the roof, kind of typical bathroom. So the units that had been converted, they kept the original floors and bathtub and enclosure for the bathtub, as you can see here, even though the unit was turned up. And as we go through, you'll see a little bit more. But there was an issue with the plumbing, whereas that when you're going through with the inspector, it's opportunity because most of the residents were home. We was only a couple that were vacant. We went in and did what we had to do and get out. But it's a perfect opportunity when you're going through to talk to the residents, see what problems they're having. So for me, we were asking, hey, are you having any issues? How's their responsiveness when you have an issue? Do they fix it the same day? Is there anything going on? Is there water leaks? How's the bathtub? How's the draining? And so that was when they came up that we had slow drains, and the bathtub would stop up, and then you had leaks whether it was from the units up top that they had leaks in the ceiling that were identified, or it was leaks in units that were down where you could see that it was old corroded piping that needed to be replaced, which we see going through that. It's like, okay, well, these guys haven't updated the plumbing yet, so that's an expense that you're gonna have to pay, or issues you're gonna have to deal with the plumbing when you're going through with your remodel after you take ownership. And so we'll position here to the last of the photos, but that was something that came out that didn't mean to download that, but going through. And so one of the big things to look at is the electric panel. Have the panels been updated? This one hadn't been updated. It didn't have the GFCI. Well, this one, I think I got a picture later on that didn't have it. So it didn't have the ground fault circuits. And with that, you got to update to code. And so that's one of the things, if you're going through, you're pulling permits, then you're going to have to update the panels. Like for this one here, they had an updated air conditioning unit and water heater, but they forgot to put the pan underneath the water heater. And the wood, the platform that the HVAC and the water heater sit on top of, they didn't replace it. So from over the years, it's like sagging wood where it could collapse and fall in. And one of the things that he pointed out was with where the drain for the HVAC unit, because it was at an angle and the drain was in the back, if the air conditioner starts leaking, it's going to leak out the front and not even go into the drain because it wasn't level when they installed it. So that was something that had to go in, where the HVAC units were going to have to be reset. And it's just minor stuff that people could have, attention to detail, they could have fixed. It had some minor settling, which is normal down south, with a structure that's 30, 40 years old, that you may have some settling with the foundation, nothing major. You can see there that there's some leaks coming from up top with the bubbling sheetrock there in the bathroom ceiling. What else? Yep, there's another sagging area, no water pan, it's uneven. And we saw one of the units that was, they were under remodel. It wasn't the one down to the studs, but there was a hole in the ceiling of the bathroom. You could look up and there was charred wood. So that's from a previous fire damage somewhere. It was charred. And we really couldn't point out where exactly that came from. But that was something that we saw. Here we go. The missing balusters on the balcony where, kid could easily fall out, another one falls down, and you got a gap there. And right here, they were fastened with interior finish nails, and so a lot of these nails are starting to come out, and that's why you have those falling off like that, because they used the wrong nails, which is just lack of attention to detail and having somebody qualified that was doing the work. More of that. Here they had this one had the pan for the water heater, but there was no drain. So if the water comes into the pan, it doesn't have a drain. The drain isn't connecting anything. Luckily, what we would have to do would have to just run that drain, because behind this wall is the drain for the washing machine. And so you could be able to make that happen. But that's just something simple like that wasn't called out. Then here's the no GFCI protection in this unit on this breaker box. So that breaker would have to definitely be upgraded. Had the vinyl plank, it was uneven, so you had the floors that were cracking here in certain places. Even though you had updated vinyl plank flooring, it was uneven decking, which presented a problem, and you had some of the panel that was cracking. So really poor attention to detail and craftsmanship with just how they did the floors. This bathroom didn't have any outlets. When he took a picture and went in the attic, and there was poor insulation. That's the original insulation, so you definitely needed more insulation installed in all of the attics in the buildings. And what else? Yep, here's one that was down to the studs, and then this last one there where you had a lot of drainage here, where you had a negative grading and like a lot of water was pooling up here in this area, which you needed gutters installed, and then you need to probably install a French drain, whereas you can just manage the water flow a little bit better. But all in all, that was the rundown of the apartment. A lot of issues, way more work than what we were anticipating, what we were doing. And with it being in a C, I would say it was probably in a C neighborhood. It really didn't warrant, that type of that type of detail for us, the numbers that we were going to have to put in, the work that we came back. I think we countered at $785. The owner Didn't want to negotiate, wasn't willing to come to our price. You know, we had the data, we knew it was gonna cost, we knew what the after repair value was gonna be, and so the number is what the number is. And you know, a lot of times, you know, people you're like, oh, I want the deal so bad, they're emotionally tied to it. But in this case, it didn't work out. We weren't able to negotiate, and we were within our. I think we had 30 days. I think our due diligence period was 30 days before our money went hard. So we had to put $50,000 down, earnest money on the deal. A little bit more than I wanted to, but I was like, okay, we're serious. We'll put 50K down. We did that, and you got 30 days to walk the building, you know, make a decision, do your due diligence, look at the reports, look at the financials, understand everything. And so with that, it was like, hey, submit in writing that, yep, we're not going to move forward with the contract. We're canceling the purchase contract. You know, send us our money back. And so that we did that and worked through the broker, got that done. And yeah, and so we moved on. And so got 42 under contract, weren't able to close them. But it was a great experience walking this. And, you know, for those who stayed to the end, the reason why is a great experience because guess what? We got 40 units on the other side of town in Montgomery under contract now. And so we're in the process of putting that together. By the time you all see this video, we should be getting geared up. It's a week and, well, 8 days from today when we're shooting this video. But that be flying down and doing the walkthrough for 40 units, built in 92, way better construction, age, recent updated roofs, a lot going on with theirs. That's a whole nother video, but it's a great opportunity. We got a really good price. Sat down with the owner. We've kind of walked it already on the exterior. We're gonna go through all 40 units. We're gonna go through with the inspector, with our property management lead. We're probably gonna have two of the property management reps that's gonna take over and manage the property for us. We'll have our inspector there as well too. We'll have a plumber there to run the camera down the sewage lines. So all these type of things that with multifamily, it is a team effort. Real estate in general is a team effort, but definitely on the multifamily side is a team effort. And just looking forward to that one. You know, hit the thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the little bell. You know, if you want to hear more content like this, I'm gonna start sharing more of the multifamily journey. We're going through that. We got the fix and flips going. The business is going well there. We're doing some different strategies with rent to own, with BRRRRs, you know, we're selling stuff on the market and on the multifamily side. So we're truly a truly multifaceted business right now and just hitting on all cylinders. If you're interested in real estate coaching, sign up, get on my calendar with myself or my team. We'd love to chat with you, see what your real estate goals are, see if you're a good fit for our community, because we're building wealth and we're building a lot of it. I think this is going to be a great time right now with where the economy is, with the recession, that it's going to be opportunity to push prices lower. And for those who have the right knowledge and the techniques and skill, they're going to be able to get a lot of assets and build a lot of wealth. So with that, I'll see you all on the next video. Thank you for tapping in, and go make some equity happen.